India is racing to build the world's largest renewable energy park, an $18 billion project that could rival China and the US in clean power. But behind the record-breaking numbers are hidden struggles that might decide whether it's a triumph or a cautionary tale. Before we plug into India's renewable revolution, make sure to connect by subscribing to Design Zip for more mega project coverage. For decades, India's electricity has depended on coal. Around 70% of the country's power still comes from burning it, which is why cities have been taken over by smog and why India is often ranked among the world's top polluters. At the same time, the demand is increasing every day. With 1.4 billion people, new factories and rising middle-class lifestyles, electricity use is climbing at one of the fastest rates in the world. That means if India sticks with coal, the pollution will get worse, the imports will get pricier, and the climate goals will go nowhere. The only alternative here is renewables. India has pledged to hit 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity by 2030. That's a massive leap from where it was just a decade ago, when solar and wind energy were barely considered as alternatives there. If India wanted to achieve the goal by 2030, small projects scattered around the country were not going to cut it. India needed something so big it would change the numbers in one strike. That's how the idea of the Gujarat Hybrid Renewable Energy Park, or Kavda Solar Park as it's sometimes referred to, was born. In December 2020, Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced that India would turn the salt desert of Kutch into a hybrid park that combines a solar farm and wind field into one. The target is 30 gigawatts of clean power, which is more than the entire installed capacity of nations like Austria or Denmark. Right now, it's being built on 72,600 hectares of the salt flats of Kutch. This land was officially labelled as wasteland. You cannot farm here, you cannot build cities here, and you cannot even count on the soil to hold up heavy structures. But what it does have is endless sunshine and steady wind from the Arabian Sea. Over 330 clear days a year mean solar panels can soak up sunlight almost non-stop. And those same wind currents blow hardest at night and during monsoons, which balances the solar output. For renewable engineers, that's the dream combination. The site's location adds another layer of practicality. It sits close enough to Mundra Port that turbines, modules, and other massive equipment can be shipped in and hauled directly to the desert. And since the land was government-owned, the state of Gujarat could lease out huge tracts at lightning speed. Now, let's rewind a little. India's first big solar experiment was the Charanka Solar Park, also in Gujarat, launched in 2012. That project was considered huge at the time, as it was going to generate around 750 megawatts. But Kavda makes Charanka look like a backyard project. The leap from hundreds of megawatts to 30,000 megawatts shows how dramatically India's ambitions have scaled up in less than a decade. Another interesting thing is that there is not just one company that is building this site, it's a whole lineup of energy giants. Adani Green Energy Limited has taken the largest share and has already energized the first 1,000 megawatts of solar in record time, in less than 12 months. That's enough to power nearly 1 million homes, and it's just a starter slice. NTPC Renewable Energy, which is the green arm of India's largest state-owned power producer, also has a big presence here. The Solar Energy Corporation of India has allocated over 11,500 megawatts of wind projects, and other public firms like SJVN and NHPC are each developing hundreds of megawatts. It's a mix of private muscle and public backing, coordinated at the national scale. The technology on site is state-of-the-art. Instead of using old, smaller turbines, developers are installing 5.2 megawatt giants. Each turbine has blades longer than a Boeing 747's wings. Just one of these turbines can power thousands of homes. The solar side is equally massive. Millions of panels are lined in rows that stretch for kilometers. Engineers say that when you stand in the middle of the array, The reflection of sunlight on the panels makes it look like an ocean of glass. And what's the point of producing all this power if it cannot be moved? That's why India is building dedicated green energy corridors, which are high voltage transmission lines stretching across states to plug Kavda's output into the national grid. Without those, the park would be stranded in the desert. With them, it becomes a lifeline for booming industrial cities and energy-hungry states. The numbers only get bigger. The total investment is pegged at 1.5 lakh crore in Indian rupees, which is about 18 billion US dollars. That puts it among the largest clean energy investments ever attempted anywhere. The carbon savings promised here are that around 50 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions will be avoided every year, which is like wiping 11 million cars off the road. And the great thing is that tens of thousands of jobs have been created during construction, and thousands more will be there once the park is running at full tilt. This park shows that India doesn't want to be left out of the renewable energy race. Right now, China and the US lead the world, but Kavda puts India on the same stage. Building it in Gujarat, right next to the border, also makes it a political symbol of strength and self-reliance. Only a small part has been finished so far, but the speed is unmatched. In just a few years, Kavda is set to outgrow every other renewable project in the world, but only if they manage to solve all the problems they are facing right now on the ground. The desert has been fighting back. The first big hurdle was the ground itself. Beneath the salt crust, the soil is soft and unpredictable, swallowing heavy machinery and threatening the stability of towers. To fix this, engineers had to drill thousands of stone columns deep into the earth to create artificial strength. Without that, 120-meter wind turbines would never stay upright. The air is another enemy. Dust storms sweep across Kutch, covering solar panels in hours. Dirty panels lose efficiency fast, but water here is too scarce to waste on washing. That's why waterless cleaning robots are now gliding over millions of modules each night, brushing them clean. This is a clever solution, and it also helps the companies chase their UN Sustainable Development Goal 6 pledge on water neutrality. Then there is the salt. The desert atmosphere corrodes metal at lightning speed. To keep the park from rusting away before it even switches on, developers used special anti-corrosion coatings on every mounting structure, substation, and piece of switchyard equipment. These details sound small, but they are the only reason the site can survive decades in this environment. Even with all this, progress has been rapid. Adani Green Energy managed to install 2.4 million solar modules and commission 1,000 megawatts of power in under 12 months. Other developers like NTPC, GIPCL and GSECL are building their allocated zones, with more capacity letters of intent already signed. But let's be honest, every megawatt built here is a victory against terrain, weather, and chemistry itself. If the desert itself wasn't tough enough, the real storms began when people entered the picture. Building a megapark this size means taking over land that others once used, and not everyone is happy about it. Officially, the site is wasteland, but local herders and small communities say the flats are part of their grazing routes and seasonal livelihoods. Protests have already broken out over fears that traditional ways of life are being erased in the rush for clean energy glory. The workers brought in to build the park also tell a different story than the glossy press releases. There have been reports of punishing hours in 40-degree heat, cramped housing, and even delayed wages. Some labourers have reportedly fled the site altogether, while rights groups are calling for stronger oversight. This is your reminder that clean energy on paper doesn't always mean clean treatment of people on the ground. There is also the politics of the place. The park sits in Kutch, right on the India-Pakistan border, which makes it not only the biggest renewable site in the world, but also one of the most sensitive. The area already has a strong military presence, and many see the park as a show of control and national pride. On top of that, The Adani Group is still facing questions over past financial scandals. In short, Kavda aims to turn 72,600 hectares of salt desert into the world's largest hybrid renewable park, an $18 billion project targeting 30 gigawatts and power for about 18 million homes. But tough ground conditions, dust, corrosion, and social tensions mean the dream could become a difficult, expensive test on the ground. Personally, I admire the scale and urgency. India needs big moves on clean energy, but I worry this location and the current approach could create new environmental and social problems if not handled better. What do you think? Was this the right place for such a massive project, or did planners trade one set of problems for another? Tell me your view in the comments below. Did you know over 90% of people who watch Design Zip videos aren't subscribed? If you subscribe, it really helps grow the channel, and you may also find our next video interesting too. Thanks. See you in the next one.